What's good, fam? Welcome back to the Russell Muscle YouTube channel. Hope everything good with y'all. I know it's been a minute since I dropped a video. We got a different one today. My son turned 17 and we bought him a car. So we got to do a little work to it. I got to change the oil cooler. I just did the thermostat and the oil change. So without further ado, let's get into the video. All right, real quick, show y'all why I ain't been posting nothing on the car. I redid that wall, put that wood trim up, painted it, put the trim around the ceiling. Had the recessed lighting put up by one of my partners, swapped the ceiling fan out, and my wife put the tile up on the fireplace. Painted the cabinets, painted the table. Been installed the flooring before, but put that pendant light up. And then this part right here was all open, so I built the wall out, put the little wood design going across it, put these French doors in there, and built those shelves. So that's what I've been doing. You know, when you put work into your house, that build the equity in the house. Let's get into the video. It's the car right here. 2011 Chrysler 300. V6, he don't need no V8. To get to the oil cooler, which is right here, got to take all this off. The reason these go bad in these V6s is because the bottom of it is made out of plastic. And so the replacement I got is made out of aluminum. But I noticed it when I changed the thermostat and I did the oil change. I started noticing oil and coolant was leaking. And I looked down in there and see it all in there. So I did a little research. And that's what it is. So I'm about to go ahead and knock it out. First thing you're going to do is pop this cover off. Next, we're going to take this off. To remove this, you're just going to take these two clamps off. You got one right here and one right there. Once you got it off, you also want to unplug the sensor right here. Next, you want to disconnect the throttle body wire. So pull this tab back. Pull it out like that. This slide off of there. You also want to disconnect this one right here. So you simply pull it down, pull it off. Next, you're going to remove this vacuum hose right here. Next, you're going to remove this one. You might have to spray some WD-40 if you got some soap and water. And you spray it and just pull that hose off. Once you got that one off, you got another one right here that's connected to the manifold by this clamp. So you want to remove this one also. Next, you're going to have to remove this metal bracket. Both of these are 10 millimeters. All right, coming to the other side of the engine. Got another metal bracket, 10 millimeter. And it's another one right there that you got to get to. Got the nuts off both of the brackets on that side and also on this side. But what I'm gonna do is probably remove this nut to take this bracket off. So that way, when you take the manifold off, it just slide out that way. So that way you don't have to worry about going all the way down there to taking these, loosen these two up. Nut holding this other bracket on is a 13 millimeter. It's actually a screw. Now that everything's taken off, what you're gonna do next is find all these screws. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 7. Once you unloosen those, y'all see it'll come off. Like I said, I left these brackets on, so when I raise it up, I'm gonna slide it out this way. Got the upper manifold off, we're about to remove the lower. These are held in by 8 millimeter screws also. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I already unscrewed those. And then you should have 7, 8. So like 8 of them in total. So the other 2 are under this piece right here. I got all the screws loosened. So before we pull it up, we're gonna pull these tabs up and unloosen these plugs for the fuel injectors. I'm using these to pull the tabs up, so I'm just gripping them. You can see that. I'm just gonna pull it up like that. Undo your fuel line, so you want to put a cloth under there. And then also make sure that none skid out. It might be pressurized. Thing to do is pinch down on both sides with some pliers and just pull it with your other hand. And a little bit of fuel came out, so it's not too bad. Next, what you want to do is cut this little zip tie right here. I almost got it out, but as y'all can see, this little piece right there holding it in, so you want to pop that out and it'll come off. Your oil cooler. Like I said earlier, a lot of these fail because this bottom piece It's plastic, which I don't know why they will put plastic on the engine, but it's plastic, and so the new one is aluminum. What I'm about to do first before I remove this is clean all this up. Got it cleaned up. Now to remove the bolts for the oil cooler, you're gonna use an E8. Try to get the camera to clear up, but it's like a star bit, but it's gonna be an E8. And that's how you're gonna be able to remove these screws. First thing I'm gonna do is remove this tab. You got a clamp right there, you gotta squeeze, you pull that off, and then you got another clip down there that you gotta remove. Got all 5 screws loosened. And so now I just gotta remove that hosing out of the clamp when I pull it up. Also want to cover your ports to make sure none of this fluid get down in there. When you lift it, be prepared, a lot of fluid gonna come out, but as you can see, once you raise it up, it's a lot easier to get to those. I have to hold it up and show y'all at the same time, but with this sensor, you're just gonna press the tab and pull it out. Got it off. Now I'm about to clean all this fluid up. What I'm using is my wet vac. So I'm about to just get down in there. As you see, I already got some of it up. I'm about to go on and get the rest. Ordered this new one off of Amazon. Hopefully it's the right part. Y'all know how it is when you order stuff offline. But again, as y'all can see, the whole thing is aluminum. Y'all a quick comparison. This one come with the screws, come with your oil filter, and it come with all the gaskets to replace those old ones. Pop these caps off of those and you can see those are the same. You won't have to worry about putting that filter in. It already come with one inside of it. First thing I'm gonna do is squeeze this clamp and put this hose back on. Got the hose back on. Now I'm about to do both of those plugs. Got both of the plugs back in. Everything lined back up. You wanna make sure this gasket is on this part down here at the bottom on the new one. It's a little round gasket that go in there. You wanna make sure that's pushed all the way down in that hole. Once you got everything lined up, you just tighten the bolts back up, or the screws. Got the screws tightened down with the E8 star bit. Y'all can see it a little better now, the sign down. But I don't have a torque wrench, so I just tightened them till they couldn't turn no more. You wanna swap all these gaskets out on the top and on the bottom. Got my gaskets replaced. I got all our 7 bolts tightened back down with an 8mm socket. Next, what you want to do is reconnect your fuel line and your fuel injector plugs. Then push the tab back in once you got them plugged in. Okay, so next, this hose right here. I don't know if y'all can remember, but we had popped that out. You basically want to push this little clamp back down in that hole to keep this hose in place. And as y'all can see, I already took the old gaskets off, and I'm just replacing them with these new ones. I got our gaskets on. Now we're about to put the upper manifold back on. We didn't take this bracket off on that side, so what you want to do is put it in, and you want to slide these 2 screws into those holes where the bracket is. Once you got everything lined up, you want to take your 8mm socket and screw your screws back in. So remember, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in the back. What I'm gonna do next is put this bracket that we took off in the back on here. Remember that bottom screw is a 13mm, and then I believe these 2 up here were 10s. All right, so we got both of our nuts back on, which were 10mm. Now we're gonna reconnect this hose right here, and also this one right here, this one at the top. Gonna redo this plug. All right, got all our hoses connected. Big one in the back. This one went back onto that. This one, a little L shape, plug back into the top right there. Got our clamp put back on there on the throttle body. Got our plug back in. This plugged in. This plug into the sensor. Once we reconnect, the piece going to the air box. All right, so now that we got this back on, before I tighten it up, you're just gonna simply plug this plug back in. And just tighten those 2 clamps back. Put these other 2 10mm nuts back on that bracket on this side. Got everything back in place, bolt it down. Just gotta put that top cover back on. I'm gonna go to the junkyard and get another one of these and replace it. It's kind of tore up. Everything mounted in place. All this is plastic, so ain't nothing gonna get damaged. And to mount this top on, all you gotta do is clamp it on to these little pieces that's sticking up. Put the cover back on, everything looking good. You also want to top your fluid back off if you're low on coolant. And check your oil. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. Stay locked in for the next one. Much love and God bless.